Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the One Nation of Gamers 2016 circuit brought to you by Geico and Alienware. Once again, I'm TJ, joined by my casting sidekick, Chakki _HS, aka Keaton Gill. And we're about to jump into the finals of the Open number 2 between LBYS and Eversiction. And this is going to be a doozy. LBYS, he's sort of fighting for the aggro players. Eversiction, on the other hand, fighting for the control players. Battle of the Ages.
And then there's a Druid deck thrown in there. Yeah,
Ignore that for now.
yeah, forget about that, man.
Yeah, but still, these guys have very different styles of play, and it's cool to see. And they're both sort of, I want to call them up-and-comers, but they've been around the scene for a long time. They just haven't had breakout performances. LBYS, on one hand, he's competed in so many of the ONOGs, and Eversiction, he's part of the New Order Esports. He was one of the people, I think, that helped start the team, and he helps organize the tournaments that they do. And he's been entrenched in the scene for a long time. So pretty cool to see that these two are the two that are fighting it out for the finals today.
Yeah, definitely two people very deserving of making the finals. Obviously, they made it all this way, so definitely strong players. Looking for a good set. Like you said, it's kind of a clash of styles here. I can't really say one style is particularly favored. I don't think it'd be by a huge margin, but I sort of favor the aggro lineup. I haven't played too much like Hybrid Hunter, so I don't know how that's going to line up, but I have to assume that's still going to do well against Druid. It definitely does well against Reno Lock. Hunter still boasts like an insane win rate against Warlock across the board in recent tournaments, so that's one thing that even though Hunter's not as good as it used to be, its Warlock matchup is still pretty good.
Yeah. So Eversiction's actually going to change up his plan here. He normally opens Warrior, and that's what we've seen like throughout the Open and even in his first match today. Decides to switch it up, goes with Druid, and matches into Secret Paladin first off. Now, sort of similar to the Zoo matchup, I think that Secret Paladin has a good shot because they can flood the board, make it really hard for Druids to remove. But Druids can do crazy things.
Sort of similar to the game we saw. Eversiction has 2 innervates.
Empty his hand by turn 2.
All he's missing is that wild growth, which he doesn't really even need. But certainly wouldn't hurt to draw it. So it's mostly going to be the question of how he sequences this, but I mean, looking at the hand, you have to assume Druid is a pretty big favorite here, especially when you draw, a 1-drop too. So I think the way to sequence this probably, he's going to go as aggressively as possible. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Just get out the Shredder, holding on to the Living Roots. I wouldn't have minded just Living Roots first, and then Shredder, and then Keeper, stuff like that. Save 1 innervate for if you draw like a 7-drop. But this is definitely going to put a lot more pressure on a lot quicker.
The thing about Paladin is, aside from like Noble Sacrifice and maybe a Belcher, they don't have healing or ways to block damage. So damage that you deal to a Secret Paladin sticks. It's one of the reasons why like Aggro Shaman's considered super favored, because you can just race them. And sometimes you can do that with Druid. You just start going face, force the Secret Paladin to be the one who makes the trades, and then eventually draw a combo and win the game. So getting out the early pressure is actually really good against Secret Paladin because they're not going to get it back.
Yeah, and Eversiction certainly respected Noble Sack there with the hero power, but he passed up 4 worth of potential stats to do that. So I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for him. I mean, I feel like he had a hand that if he played it as aggressively as possible, could have ran away with the game. And he played it a little more conservatively and didn't really get rewarded for it. He definitely can figure out what he was playing around, but I mean, now the game looks sort of even. Like, Innervate, unless Eversiction picks up like Dr. Boom, isn't that good anymore.
Very true. That'd be great for Eversiction and Ancient of War.
That'd be pretty good too.
LBYS has 2 turns to draw on this Mysterious Challenger as well. But I mean, at this stage, he can just deal with the hand that he has, because every section, unless he picks up a pretty big threat here, is a pretty dead hand. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Cycles, fills up his mana.
We'll have to see if he chooses to innervate out the Living Roots just to deal with the Shredder, or else it gets a really clean trade into the Azure Drake. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if he doesn't...
With the swipe pickup, though, next turn he can keeper swipe, so...
Sure.
That's a little bit better, if he finds a good keeper target.
We'll have to see what LBYS chooses to do here. There's a very high likelihood that he gets the Avenge procced finally. Like, if there's a swipe to come out. So, I'd say for as behind as he should have been, being at 17 with board control is a pretty good breaking point. I mean, once you get down to 14, that's like the magical number where suddenly you go from everything's fine to, oh god, what's happening?
Yep.
Looks like it's just going to be a keeper from every section then on whatever gets buffed. Yeah, he's certainly happy with that.
Yeah, you can double down on the Power of the Shredder. So, ooh, Belcher.
Not a bad top deck. I wonder if you go 2/2 though. It would give you a little more power actually, and you'd curve out slightly better.
Yeah, and Belcher can also be, if you can tell that your opponent's like all-inning on combo, since he has used a lot of resources, you can like tell that and then play Belcher as sort of that wall that you need to buy yourself a couple more turns.
Yeah, if you played 2/2, he would certainly have better trades available. It'd be a little weaker to the swipe that's coming, but I mean, you can't play around that forever. Looks like every section's considering if he wants to do that now. His hand has gotten so much weaker, like almost to the point where you struggle to see how he's even going to get through the Belcher. Like, yeah, he's just doing it now because he realizes I can't get through that later.
Yeah.
And so now LBYS is pretty content. He's thinking like, okay, I don't have to worry about combo.
Well, he does. There's a shade.
Yeah, but he's only going into 8 mana now. There's no innervates. Your opponent's hand size is 1, so
Ever Section's gonna be all in on the combo for turn 9.
oh, easily. Yeah,
How this game's gonna go down is pretty much Ever Section needs combo on 9 or he's dead, because he's at 20. He's
I
gonna
think
be
he
on a
might
pretty short
have
clock.
to. I think he might have to force now though to clear.
All right, so he's gonna be at what?
He can clear 3 things off the board with force.
Ugh. Then how are you gonna win the game?
You just have to draw like Ancient Allure, Doctor Boom, and your opponent has to draw secrets.
I think it all depends on this next draw.
Right. That's definitely the context is going to be huge here.
If he picks up a threat, like a mediocre
A
threat,
swipe would be nice.
that makes it tough.
I feel like you force now. I feel like the context is okay. Drew the Claw, I can taunt up. Maybe my opponent has bad cards. Maybe I win the late game. Now it's kind of tough because you look at this card in your opponent's hand and you think, okay, what is that card? And it could just as easily
Tyrion.
be, yeah, exactly. It could easily be Tyrion. I mean, it could easily be Boom, because even with how LBYS played last turn, Keeper Minibot might have been better than Boom even, because it helped him trade. But yeah, Tyrion is definitely something on your mind. You're thinking, but how do you beat Tyrion anyway? Maybe you just have to assume, okay, it's not Tyrion. Let's go.
Yeah.
He's putting himself on combo to win, like you said. This is definitely one way to play it. Obviously, it's a 2-outer, however many cards he has in his deck. Noble Sack would prevent that, just barely.
Yeah.
But he'd have to trade super heavily, but I think he'd do that, right?
Well, okay, so if he trades super heavily and empties his hand, then Ever Section can just hero
He
power.
can just force the board, yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah, like
This is actually going to come to be a super close game. It's going to come down to draws for both players.
Yeah,
if either player gets a dead draw,
the Druid is super favored in that because he's used both innervates, he's used both Living Roots, And the Paladin has not played Challenger, so the secrets are all in the deck of what's left.
All right, what's the draw going to be?
So he does put up the Noble Sack. Savage Roar won't do it, but... Oh, man. Ancient Allure. Going to give him a lot of staying power. Wrath for 1. Going to give him even more cards. And remove 3 damage.
Pretty sick.
Belcher's not bad.
Double Belcher?
Yep. But... So there's a Noble Sack up. Looks like Eversiction's hand is actually a little bugged, but he's got 3 in hand right now.
Yeah.
So now 4 in hand.
Yeah, 1 being force.
He's got 4 cards, so a lot to work with, and it looks like this might be... Oh, no,
Okay.
he just has minions.
Well, minions are great. I love minions.
They're okay, but I don't know, man. It's really close. He's 3 off lethal. So certainly you have to do some trading here. Where do you want to put the kings is a big question. You could just put it on your Belcher to get a bigger taunt.
But then it's more susceptible to keeper, second keeper.
Second keeper, BGH, yeah, things like that. But it's better against cards that aren't those. You can put it on your mini bot just to get the most efficient trade possible. You've already seen 2 living roots. I believe 1 wrath and 1 swipe, so you're kind of happy about that. I mean, you could put it on the creeper to build a more resilient board. I think regardless, you really want to trade into that Ancient Allure, as icky as that sounds. He's going to go for the most resilient play. So this creates a creeper, which even if your opponent can remove it, you're not that upset because it gives you the 1/1s. Going to put his opponent to 6, which is, threatening the lethal. Eversection can definitely survive. Yeah. You have to force through... Yeah, you have to leave your opponent with all the 1/1s.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. But,
He's
still on
not-
a force nature draw to win. So if he clears the Haunted Creeper, there'll be 3 attack on board.
Well, he has to, essentially.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to, but...
Dude, it's forcing him. Actually,
He just goes face. Is there any reason to go face? I guess swipe? You could draw swipe to win then?
no, there's no reason. Oh, actually.
Well, I feel like the reason to trade is that you're in such an okay spot that if your opponent doesn't rip a really good card like this, you can just win by forcing the board now.
Yeah, that's true. So
even if you don't draw the Savage Roar, because you traded, you can win by forcing the board. Now he's gonna draw swipe. We'll be like, oh, what an idiot. But it might still be lethal because LBY has to just push your face. Yeah. So, a lot of draws do it here. Dr. Boom might as well, Actually, if he Dr. Booms, he does have to leave a 1/1 out, which means Kings would seal the game.
if he runs 2 kings, there's also 2 silver though that would win.
Yeah, certainly this has to be the play though.
I don't think he can run 2 kings. He runs double keeper and double Belcher. Probably just 1 king.
Yeah. Keeper won't do it. It would be 1 off.
Yeah.
Silver would do it. Kings would do it.
Yeah.
Ragnaros. I was just thinking about Tyrion. I don't think that's going to be enough.
So Tyrion, if he Tyrions, then he'll have to use a boombot.
It's boombots. Yeah,
8, 9, 10. One of the boombots would have to go face for
some amount of damage.
3.
For 3?
Well, okay, so
You could hero power and then trade in the boombot. Hope it hits the 1/1.
well, you can't hero power the Tyrion.
I wouldn't mind. Oh, is that it? That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly 3.
Yeah.
He was dead anyway, but yeah. I wouldn't have minded him playing the Tyrion before killing the Boombot, because if the Boombot hits the Divine Shield, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Because it's essentially hitting your face for 1.
Yeah.
So that would have been a good result. So I think that's actually a slight missequence, because Eversection had a 1/1 to run into the Divine Shield. So if a Boombot hits the Divine Shield, it's essentially hitting for 1. which is you're happy about. So he did go for the best case scenario, though, where he was like, okay, it's a 50-50 that the Boombot does nothing. That was a close game.
It was super close. Came down to some, tight draws there at the end, but
Yeah, there's probably a lot of plays within that game that you can look back and say, like, man, if I did this differently, maybe I would have won.
I think that's how usually the Druid versus Paladin matchup goes. Either it's a blowout win for the Paladin.
Yeah, sometimes
or,
it's a blowout.
yeah. Usually it's either a blowout win for the Paladin or it's very grindy and the Druid wins. So,
well, that's an interesting card.
Fell Cannon! Ugh. So, Eversection, of course, beat me in the round of 8 to make it here. In the decided match to make it onto the broadcast. And Fell Cannon, I saw that come out and I had no idea what to expect because it was the first card that he had played.
Yeah.
And so, Fell Cannon came out and it hit my SI agent. And then the Immortal Coil on it next turn. Feels bad, man.
Did you draw Sprint, though?
No.
TJ was like super salty last night. He's like, my sprints were in the bottom 8.
Yeah, both road games. And to top it all off, in the Druid game that he beat me, I was 2 damage off lethal. I had like so many outs in my deck. And he like oil, deadly poison, so many outs. He played low at them, so I would have been able to play those anyway. And I draw the sprint right at the end there. The 12 mana sprint.
Never lucky, man.
Yeah.
Well, looking at this game, not the greatest owl, but I think he's happy that it's just challenging the board and paving the way for his coin Fell Cannon is what I think he's going to do. Because the thing about Fell Cannon, it has like anti-synergy with having the board.
Paving the way. Paving the way for the coin Fell Cannon.
Yeah, it is.
It's the name of a indie rock band.
Okay.
Do you run any mechs in
Fell Cannon Reno Lock?
It's such a weird card because it doesn't even hit like shield
you run anti-kill bot. Yeah, it doesn't hit shielded mini bot.
So like the most common.
Okay, here we go. 50-50. Always lucky.
Brutal.
Brutal.
That's what that is.
Well, now you're back to the point where it's like, man, do I really want my Fell Cannon around? Yeah, it's just going to retreat. He'll come back.
He's like, it did its job. Took out the Leper Gnome and ate a Freezing Trap. It healed me for 3, and it took up a whole turn for my opponent. There you go.
Wow.
Potentially even more than 3, because the Leper Gnome could have hit face more than once.
Fell Cannon is insane.
Yeah.
Well, these are awkward cards. Yeah, I guess you just Arcangle them. Here's your Wild Growth, idiot. And dome them for 12.
Yeah. There's a certain point when you're playing Hunter, especially, aggressive versions like Hybrid, where you just have to just ignore their board, hope they don't have it, and hit the face.
Azumoqt.
Indeed.
Well, it
OMG
could work
Scoots.
out. There's a Lord Juraxis to heal him back to 15 in a turn. That was a decent juggle, though, to the face, so... I mean, he really has to kill him in the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know that, but I mean, he's just like, okay. Oh, man! We don't even get to the satisfaction, like, watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Hybrid Hunter can win after Reno is played, but not from a position like this, I don't think.
And one of the key cards in doing so is Savannah Highmane, which LBYS does not
play.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's opposed to the Highmane. I mean, Hunter traditionally has a good matchup here, but definitely not when these draws happen. Oh, come on, play the MC tech. Aww.
Never gonna get value.
Oh, you can still play it. You can still play it.
You-
It's just directly worse now, is all.
yeah. Well, if he's gonna play Demon Wrath, there's absolutely no reason to play it.
Man, gotta kill my vibe.
Yeah.
And then he plays it. Scam us.
Well, okay. So whatever
Yeah,
he took.
I understand.
Okay.
I know. It's a sad day.
You just wanted a reason to exclaim us. I know the way you operate.
Well, LBYS is just gonna go for it. I know this feeling. And you're like, maybe quick shot into kill command.
20 damage. I can get there.
Man,
This is-
heal is cheat.
Yeah. This is when you just have like so much faith in subpar cards in your hand, suboptimal cards in your deck. They're like, if I draw Stranglethorn Tiger, I can get there.
I think Stranglethorn Tiger will win the game.
Yeah. But, you know, with that loss, LBYS falls down 2-0 in the series.
Yep.
So he's got to now beat a Control Warrior deck 3 times in a row. One of those times being with a Hybrid Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprisingly not that bad. He is running Stranglethorn Tiger though, which again, I would personally say is worse than Savannah Highmane in this matchup.
In Hybrid, yeah.
Against Control Warrior.
Yeah, because it pretty much is 5 damage. Like, that's what it is. It's 5 mana, deal 5 damage, because you're
Savannah
almost
Highmane
never
is so
going to hit
much
it twice. And there could be situations where you play the Stranglethorn Tiger, and then it gets brawled, and
And
it literally does nothing, whereas Savannah
Whereas-
Highmane might have a chance for the 2/2s to be left behind. So
Right.
this is going to be it's an uphill battle.
You know,
for
if
West.
Stranglethorn Tiger is good, Control Warrior is not the matchup it's good in.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm saying. I don't disagree. The card can be really nice, but
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to see.
What
it's
a
like
hand there from LBYS, though. That's
Yeah, and the key thing here is he's basically drawn out the information. Okay, there's no War Axe. If there was a War Axe, you just egg, it's fine, but there's no War Axe, so he's just going to go really hard on minions, plays most powerful things each turn. He's a little disappointed that there's a bash, so now that's going to slow him down.
It's funny. It's changed the way that the game is played from a Zeus perspective, but it's hard to adapt to it because in the past you test for Fireworks and that changes your line of play, and if you don't see it, then you just barf out your strong 2-drops like Juggler. But now all of a sudden there's double bash in all Control Warrior.
Double bash, double slam, revenges.
Yeah, so those all fill the void of that turn 3 where you're in between Fireworks and Deathbite.
It's certainly not as efficient, though. I mean, he had to spend 2 cards for 2 cards. Dark Peddler is even like a net gain of a card. And you see LBYS is already starting to tap, so he's recognizing, okay, I need to take this a little long. You don't want to take it too long because then you're just going to lose, but because the warrior cards are so much more efficient.
Yeah.
But when you're drawing twice a turn and the warrior is going 1 for 1 with you, you are going ahead in card advantage.
Yeah. LBYS, he was the player with the lower curves, right? Or was that Astrogation?
He had a Dr. Boom.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm mistaken.
Or actually...
No, that was Astrogation.
No, Astrogation had Ardent Squire and Dr. Boom. LBYS we've seen Doomguard from as the highest card he's played. Okay. So we haven't seen too much of the deck, though, because it did just win the first time it was played.
We do know that it's all golden.
Hey, man. Only way to play.
Do you have any all golden decks, Chakki?
I do. I've got all golden... Well, I had all golden Druid, and then Darnassus Aspirant came out, and I haven't crafted golden of those. I've got all golden Freeze Mage.
Out of all the decks to have all golden,
all golden Hunter. An all golden Zoo.
Wow, that's a lot, actually.
Yeah, I crafted, before ESL Legendary Series, I crafted all my decks in gold. And I played, the day before that tournament, I played, like, maybe 9 hours of Control Warrior, which I wasn't even playing in the tournament, just because I wanted Golden Wolf Riders. Dedication to my craft.
Mm-hmm. I have all golden Rogue, Tempo Mage, and Patron Warrior.
Eversiction's got a lot of golden cards on his side too. I mean, Golden Revenge that's an adventure card, so you have to craft it.
Yeah, that's bold because it's not even. I like to craft cards that I'll use in like a lot of decks,
Yeah, but Revenge is like so specific.
like
When you
Golden
craft
Loatheb.
Golden Defender Vargas, you're like, I'm happy about this. You know, it was cheap, and it's I'm gonna use it a lot.
All right, well, there's Brawl Revenges. There's a lot of ways for Eversection to sort of reset the board, but this is some.
If he hits, I guess he would just Revenge straight away, or not Revenge, but Brawl. But like, I feel like the earlier you Brawl, the more susceptible you are to just getting ran over by Zoo puking out minions. Like, as soon as you Brawl, that's like the tell sign of go, go, go.
Yeah.
And for LBYS, basically the way you want to sequence this is so that you keep at least one egg, ideally two, but you really want those eggs for the Brawl.
Yeah.
Because sticking 2 minions over 1 is a huge difference, especially when 1 is a 4/4.
Very true. It's actually really tough. I'm trying to think what I would do here. You can hope the juggle hits the Belcher.
Gormok is really nice.
I love Gormok.
I think it's Gormok the Belcher. See where the juggle goes. If the juggle goes on the Belcher, it's awesome.
Then you can
then you get to keep both eggs.
Ooh.
So you can go for another juggle here if you want with the Imp King boss. I'd probably do that first. Yeah. And then you trade however you need to. So if the juggle hits the Belcher, nope. So now you have to trade an egg, and then you trade the Argus, and then you trade the juggler.
Yeah.
You definitely don't trade this egg. Yeah. I mean, obviously LBYS has played this deck more than a few times. He knows how Brawl works.
It's not full golden. Look at that Dark Iron Dwarf.
Oh yeah, look at that Gormok.
It's a common.
Non-golden Gormok, Dan's game. Right,
non-golden Gormok. Oh my scoops.
He's got really good odds of a 4/4 coming out. If a 4/4 comes out, I'd say he's still in a good spot because he's got another 4/4 right after it.
Oh, no.
That one's not bad.
Okay.
It's still disappointing, but
yeah.
All right. So this changes your play, I guess. I guess you Loatheb. Voidwalker, not insane here. It is really just gonna die, but
the thing is, LBYS hasn't drawn into his burn.
Now BGHing here is a pretty ballsy move. All it does is at best kill Imp Gang Boss, and at worst your opponent is just like thanks and plays Doctor Boom, or thanks and plays Sea Giant. You know, like there's actually a lot of big game in Zoo decks these days.
He might be pretty confident though that LBYS doesn't run anything like that because there are actually a lot of Zoo lists that don't run a single card that is 7 or plus attack. Like they top out at Doomguard and Loatheb. So
I think I like tap here. No matter what, Eversection has the option to Revenge now. In LBYS's mind, I guess he's thinking he needs double Revenge, which he has. Now he gets to hold the axe. Ooh, Shield Block's really nice too.
He picks up a threat here. Oh, there's the Justicar.
Yeah, Justicar is going to be pretty good. It is a weak minion, but it's just going to gain so much life.
Yeah.
And this will clean up the entire board. I think he's going to axe off the 1/1 just to deny minion buffs from doing extra damage. That's certainly going to put him in a good spot, especially when that's the top deck.
Do you throw away yet?
Oh, it feels so bad, man.
I think you have to.
It feels so bad because that's like the best answer to Justicar.
Yeah.
And he's out of implosions now.
Yep. First one was on the BGH. Second one was discarded. LBY still was another Doomguard in the deck. Ooh, Power. Honor Creeper is a good target for Power Overwhelming now that both Avengers are gone. There's still a Brawl left in Eversection's deck, so...
Yeah, that's about the last large form of removal he has. But at this point, I mean, just gaining armor and playing big statted minions like Shield Maiden is perfect. It's exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to play Acolyte of Pain. He really does need to get that down as soon as possible, but he might still feel threatened. I think I'd go for it. Yeah. He really just needs to proactively get that draw, or else he could get outvalued. Not bad, not bad.
He's starting to tap himself out, though. Look at this.
Well,
Down to 14 health.
This happens all the time. You basically tap yourself out as the Zoo player every time. Like health, you might as well just ignore your health.
60% of the time, every time.
Yep. So we're in the grindy portion. This is where Dr. Boomer's Sea Giant would be insane, but we're not even sure if he plays those. In fact, I'd lean towards he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't seen the whole list.
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Coil would be really nice. Yeah, there's a Mortal Coil. Certainly you take that just for the draw. I wonder if you PO. I guess you do now.
Does he have any battle cries left in his deck?
Sure. I think he does.
He's out of defenders. He's out of peddlers.
He has one abusive.
One abusive, yeah.
He used his Dark Iron.
Doomguard.
Yeah, looks like Eversecond is going to be safe, but yeah, I mean, just emphasizing even more, this is where if you do play late game in your Zoo deck, it basically wins you this exact situation every time.
Yeah, well, there's a chance that he still might win if Eversecond has some dead draws.
You know, he's doing okay, yeah.
There's still a brawl left, and that's what he needs to be afraid of.
He is got a lot of life to go through.
There's also Grom still left in the deck.
Well, yeah.
He's at 10-0.
You have to ignore Grom from here on out. You have to ignore every point of damage.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you're playing around damage. You can probably just Flame Imp, to be honest. I don't know, though. Then your opponent could just set you to 1. But would that matter? I mean, you couldn't tap then. Well, he'd be dead. So... he's actually almost out of cards. That's another thing. He's going to throw away the Flame Imp, which I don't know if I agree with, because I feel like he literally needs the damage. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
What was that? Acolyte of Pain.
I think you go face with the axe. You should just win. You should go Acolyte, face, bash face, armor up, and you should have it mathematically won, because LBYS has 1 card left.
Yeah.
So once he dips into fatigue, he's dead instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
if he does that, though...
I actually don't think he can lose. I think even if you play safe, you still win. I mean, Mal'Ganis...
What's the last card, though? If it's powerful,
it's not Mal'Ganis.
What if
PO doesn't kill him.
He'll have 13 damage on the board next turn.
He has
7.
Yeah, but he's gaining a lot of armor.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, PO doesn't get him there. Something like Enhanso Mechano.
Oh, he can even play Cruel Taskmaster to take 2 damage off the board.
Yeah.
Or draw. Okay.
Ooh. I mean, I'd probably kill the 2-1 just to be safe.
Oh.
I mean, I feel like you made it a little more complex than it needed to be, but that'll do it just as well.
He gave away his last card, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's PO.
Yeah, it was the PO.
But he's not going to get there. And
even with the Doomguard living, it was only 13 plus 4. So if he bashed, he'd be well out of range.
Yeah. He was at 13 health. If he bashed and armored up, he'd go up to 20. And so he'd be 3 damage off lethal with guaranteed next turn from the bash. So let's see what he picks up. Oh, Golden Monkey. Just to check. And bash face for inevitable lethal.
Yep.
And with that, Eversecond takes a 3-0 victory in the finals over LBYS, securing him $500, 10 Geico points, 3 Hearthstone World Championship points, and automatic qualification to the featured tournament. And I believe actually both of these players get automatic qualification.
LBYS will now have 9 points, which production told us is enough. So
Okay.
he should be qualified unless someone between both tournaments got like 5 and 5, which I think is impossible unless you top four twice. So
Yeah.
nobody got that much.
Yeah. So that means the future tournament, which is set for February 26th through 28th. So 2 weeks from now, a week after the North American Winter Preliminaries, is set. So it's going to be Shoop, Chakki, this is
Hey,
Chakki himself, LBYS, and Eversiction as the 4 qualified players. And they'll be joined by 4 invites that aren't announced yet, but will be announced prior to the tournament. I think we're gonna wait till the players play through winter prelims and stuff like that to nail down the scheduling. But yeah, make sure you guys tune into that future tournament. The future tournaments, I believe, each have like a $5,500 prize pool, which is pretty nuts for a tournament that's part of an open circuit that happens, I believe, 4 times in the year. And yeah, it's a great way for players to showcase their talents on a little bit larger of a stage against proven players that we get with the invites.
yeah,
So should be fun
yeah.
there. I'll be
I
rooting
think
for
if
Chakki.
I think if you're a player that's looking for a place to start, I get asked a lot like, "Hey, how do I get into this Hearthstone thing?" I think circuits like this are a great way to start. I've had no issues with this open tournament circuit. It's been really smoothly run. Gets you on a stream, get your name out there, and if you win, you'll be in a tournament. You can qualify for a LAN. Perfect way to start.
And it's got the highest prize pool out of any open circuit that's
Yep.
recurring.
There's a lot of open tournaments out there throwing out like $20. We've got $1,000 prize pool every week,
Yeah,
and then a feature tournament, like you said, with 5,500. So
yeah.
pretty big prize pool.
So after the feature tournament, which happens February 26th through 28th, the next open is on March 11th. So in about a month. So the next open's pretty far away. But yeah, make sure you guys sign up for that. You can head over to the website. The signups for the open tournament will be opened up around the time of the feature tournament that happens. So look out for that. You can find all the info on geico.onog.gg. You can see the link right down there. Along with getting the info, you can also get a Geico quote on the front page there, which enters you in to win an Alienware PC, the Alienware X51R3. It's a sick PC. You can see the specs there as well. I just read it right off the overlay. And so make sure you guys head over there. But I think that's it, man. I just want to point out that Eversiction won, and he beat me. So that makes me, I believe, the second best player in the tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
And the guy that beat me got fourth, so it feels bad, man.
feels bad, man.
TJ officially got fifth, and I got eighth.
Fifth, yeah.
Yep, that's how it works.
Well, Chakki, once again, it's been fun casting with you. You have any final words or shout outs that you'd like to give before we close it out?
Just shout out to the guys at One Nation of Gamers and Geico for having me on. I love casting for them, love playing in the tournaments, so it's great to be back. Shout out to you, TJ. Always nice to cast with you. Hopefully, maybe you'll cast some of my games in the future tournament. Get to see, some of my wonderful play. Arguably wonderful.
Wonderful play and exceptional decks.
And, using some of the best removal in the game, like Hex. But, yeah, that's about it. Had some great games today. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. And I will see you later.
Yeah. All right. Well, once again, as Shaq said, big shout out to Geico and Alienware for making this possible. If you want to continue talking about the games, you can head on Twitter at Geico Gaming or at Azumoqt, Chakki_Hearthstone. If you guys want to chat about the match that happened today. But that's going to be it from us. Join us again in 2 weeks' time, February 26, 28, for the feature tournament #1 for the 2016 tournament. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.